live after some more technical difficulties. This was just kind of in between season 1 and season 2. We decided to do this random YouTube live slash turn it into a podcast just because we're
Mm.
so excited for football this coming up. Uh we've got NFL training camp going. We've got college football practice starting up. We got games coming up. We've got all teams will have a preseason game this week. We're basically there, guys. We've made it through the worst months of the year, I guess. So hopefully whenever we officially start season 2 of our stuff, we'll have the technical difficulties worked out. But now here we are live.
Yeah, I'm hoping so, dude. I would say we got through the boring parts of baseball again. I would say it's I'm just honestly I'm ready to just get back into the football talk since we've already gone over it once.
Well, yes, yeah. We've talked about this before. Clark and I aren't the biggest college football people. Um, I mean, I enjoy the heck out of it, but I don't dig in as deep as I do with NFL stuff. So with our typical host Trent here, and and Joey not with us, who they're both more college football people than us. You want to lead the way there, Bryant?
Yeah, sure. I would say just I would say college football. I mean, really kind of the big thing. There's been a lot. We just had preseason the first week come through, and then we just had the coaches polls come out on Monday. Which, to be honest, normally who would give a shit? But there's a few things that came of it. So I mean, the first top 25 came out way too early. I mean, it's the usual suspects for.
Look at that baby.
Yeah, we got our fourth co-host now finally.
My baby's
Look at her
gone
stare at
tonight,
this
so I
microphone.
can't throw
Oh,
mine.
she is into it. You gonna say
Yeah,
hi?
absolutely.
Nice.
I've
Yeah.
been screaming upstairs. Come on.
She's been screaming Bama's overrated the whole time, right?
Exactly. I think she said Texas sucks. I think that's what she said.
Well, don't you worry.
Well,
We'll get to that.
Yeah, that's a little spoiler coming forward here, a little hint of what's to come.
Oh yeah, but I would say top 25
That's
came
right.
out. It's kind of the usual suspects for the top 5. Bama 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia 3, Clemson 4, Notre Dame 5. Just for our hometown teams, Iowa just missed the cut. They're at 26 with 248 votes. LSU is at 30 at 143 votes, and Iowa State was just outside at number 46 with 3 votes. So just outside the cusp. You know, everyone does their top 45, I hear, around this time of year. So
Yes. Well, that's when you get the real teams in there.
yeah. Exactly.
Did Matt Campbell at least vote Iowa State as a 1 seed, a number 1 ranking? I mean,
Not quite. You know, he's a humble man. He knows he's got to earn it. So actually, I don't even know if he has a vote in number one. The not every coach votes in this coaches poll. I'd like to get a list on who it was for our next subject there. I mean, honestly, before we jump to that, any any comments on the top 5 here? Are you guys good with it? Any thoughts?
I guess good question there. Did you say if Iowa State got any votes or not?
3.
So, that's crazy to me because they didn't meet their expectations last year. Are they that concerned that Breece Hall is gone and who was their quarterback? Was it Brock or was that for Iowa?
Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy, thank you very much.
Yes. Oh yeah, I need to get that title going. I'm sorry. Is losing those two guys that huge that people are, on the sell Iowa State side of things? Is Matt Campbell no longer the belle of the ball because this guy was supposed to be coaching 5 different teams going into this season?
Yeah, those have definitely cooled off. I think some of it is also, it also probably, to be really honest, got blown out of proportion how many teams were interested. Who knows if maybe he was even, leveraging that because he's his own agent. That's been the biggest story, or he doesn't have an agent, sorry. So, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm surprised Iowa State got 3 votes, and we're the least experienced team in the Big 12 right now. We only have 8 returners, but we have, I believe, solid backups with or I'm sorry, new starters with Hunter Deckers and Brock, Jaleel Brock. So I mean, I was okay with getting no votes, to be honest. I'm glad we got 3. Someone still considers a threat. It will be a big uphill battle for him this year, though.
I mean, so you're named Homer Bryant for a reason. Do you think they can potentially be a top 25 team?
They have the opportunity. They definitely do. I would say, and especially early on, their tough games. Their toughest game, is going to be Iowa on the road. But otherwise, a lot of their tough games are going to be played at home. I believe. Oh, well, I know for sure Oklahoma is at home. So again, that is the team that you need to beat. So I mean, Oklahoma, we're playing at home. Baylor is at home. I believe we play at Oklahoma State. I think we get Texas at home too. I think I can't get the schedule pulled up right now. My computer's a little slow, but we have a favorable schedule. But I think that's going to get us to about 7-5 this year. I don't think if we got to 8-4, that would be an improvement from last year. But I think 7-5 is realistic for us.
So I mean, take 2 is already better than take 1. I'm happy with conversation here.
I'm gonna have to change my name to Humble Brian after this. I don't like this very much. We need real football so I can really just talk shit and have facts in front of me rather than speculate and hope for the best. I need to see Hunter Deckers throw for like 4 touchdowns in the first game so my head can be fucking this wide on the screen.
You need to get to the point of being intolerant. Come on.
Yes, exactly.
Every show needs that guy.
Exactly. So, well, I'll be honest, just to transition, if there's one thing I'm going to be intolerant on, it's these fucking voters that make stupid votes. So, I would say you can see at the bottom here, the first place votes are going to be Bama. Everyone expects they had 54, I think. Ohio State had 5 first place votes. Georgia had 6 first place votes. They're 1, 2, 3. And then the last one that got 1 vote is number 18, Texas. Got a first place vote. Clark, you shaking your head there. What, do you disagree? Longhorns ain't back?
No, they will never.
what an elegant short no. There's that horns down. Perfect.
So I'll go on my rant.
Well, let's think about this as well. I mean, this might be their last good year because after this they go SEC, right? And then they're just going to get their asses kicked every week. So.
Well, I would say they've been paying for some players. I mean, SEC Ryan.
I mean,
what do you think?
I'll go on my rant again here. Texas is a brand. That's all they are, is a brand. Mm-hmm. We every single year it's the exact same thing. They're in the top 25, sometimes top 15, sometimes were they top 10 last year? I can't remember, but it just seems like it seems like every year, this Texas is going to be so tough to beat. Everyone, the Big 12 is going to have to go through Texas, and every year they flop. So until they actually show that they have something, that can actually win them games and get them to even a Big 12 championship. I'm not saying you guys need to show up and be in the college football playoffs, but be in a Big 12 championship at least if you're going to be this good. So it's just the same thing every year until Texas actually shows they're more than just a name. Whatever.
Clark?
Always overrated. Always. What? I'm trying to think back. Was it 2006? The last year they were. Was that it? Vince Young?
I had it pulled up just to have it. That was 2005 was their 13-0 year. They did win the Big 12 in 2009 when they went 8-0, and they actually went. That was the Colt McCoy year where he got injured early in that national championship game.
Okay, but I feel like since then they went way downhill. Mm-hmm. Just kind of plateaued and hung around that bottom midway point in the Big 12. Just they can't get back up that. So
I agree.
Yeah,
I'm excited. I'm excited for them to get into the SEC because they're just going to get murdered. It's just a different kind of football. They're going to get murdered.
Hey,
I think it'll be
all those teams that beat them, that win counts for more. They're an SEC.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep, that's true.
I think it's going to be interesting that you're going to bring the Red River rivalry back. You're going to have the Texas A&M rivalry back. You also have really old school Southwest Conference. You have Arkansas and Texas, which is an old school. And then, I mean, Texas, I mean, I think it's going to be every year everyone's going to, all right, we're playing Texas, the loudmouth that you know, they're coming into real football country and, you know, for SEC fans. But I just, you know, we mentioned it in the last recording. I just, the one thing I hate, you know, just prove it. You know, we've heard Texas is back all these years. I'm kind of hearing about, I'm tired of hearing Texas is back until they're competing for the playoffs. Until they, like we just said, they haven't won a Big 12 title since 2009. Since 2009. That's 13 years, and you aren't competing for the Big 12 title, let alone the SEC or a national championship. I don't know. Just
they probably don't have anybody from that coaching staff on their team either. I mean, it's a completely different team.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Just I don't know, man. Just prove it to me. I get tired of the Texas. Let's see a couple winning seasons that aren't middle of the pack Big 12. You know, yes, you did get your one first place vote, pat on the back. You have one first place vote. You also have one win versus Kansas since 2019. So let's win. Let's beat Kansas this year. Let's get the double-digit wins. Let's do that a couple years, you know, and you'll get to the SEC. And then you can talk about how Texas is back. You know, I'd say, I guess the one thing I hate talking good about Oklahoma, but you know who never has to come back is Oklahoma, because they're always at the top. You know, they're winning the Big 12 championship we'll do quick math here. Since 2009, since Texas last won the Big 12, they have won it 8 times. Oklahoma doesn't have to come back. Texas does. Again, you know, and if Texas wins double-digit games this year, okay, now we're back. You know, now you can start talking about, now we're back in national prominence. Texas is back is basically, we're back in the Big 12 conversation, not even national. I get tired of the national conversation. So.
Mm. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, I guess that kind of leads on, you know, unless anybody has anything else on this, that kind of leads us to our overrated and underrated teams.
I was just gonna say, I'm back in mid-season form on my buy rants here.
Needed that.
Oh shoot! You want me to start with the overrated like last time?
Yeah, I mean, we can just kind of lead into Clark and I. We're both saying Texas. I'm saying Texas. It's just, for me, the easy pick, just because prove that you are the Texas that everyone thinks you were 13 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Prove it to us.
Mm-hmm.
Before you go to the SEC and just get hammered by Alabama and Georgia and LSU and Arkansas and maybe even Missouri, who knows? Prove it.
Okay. I don't know about Missouri, but Missouri's just in the back. They're that boxer that always takes a fall, but they get paid by the mob. They're just like, you know what? I'm making my money over here. Just beat the shit out of me for 5 rounds, and I'll take the dive.
Yep.
So, Clark, you got anything you want to add on how much you hate Texas, or just that they suck?
Longhorns down, baby.
Oh shit! Well, I would say I'll jump to mine, and then we can go over Joey's and Trent's here. But you know, as much as I just praised them, we're talking about, you know, overrated Texas at 18. I don't think this team is going to have a bad year, mind you. But I just hyped them up. But I think the most overrated right now is going to be Oklahoma. I mean, they're rated at number 9, and Oklahoma has all the talent in the world, but you have so many new pieces. You know, you're just talking about, you know, the new pieces Texas has. I mean, Oklahoma, they have a new head coach. That's already going to be tough enough as is, you know, learning a whole different philosophy. He's more defensive minded, you know, which they need. Oklahoma, the last few years, they've been improving the last couple, but it seems like even with top tier talent, they've always struggled on defense with the talent they have. But You have a new head coach. You have a new quarterback. You know, you lost your top 2 quarterbacks last year. You lost your top 2 running backs on just overall rushing yards. They lost 4 of their top 5 receivers last year. And then, you know, we're not the most, I guess I'd say, diverse group here of podcasters, but we got the Gundy situation, the coaching situation where he just got fired after being with the school for 23 years. You know, there's probably a little bit more nuance to it, but, you know, now you have an off-field distraction as well. So I don't know, man. That one, I just think when you add all of those new pieces, I think they're going to they're a big mystery. You know, everyone expects Oklahoma to be 10, 11, 12 wins. I mean, they have a lot of new pieces, especially with the new head coach. You know, Lincoln Riley took over Stoops' players, and they skyrocketed. Stoops had them, you know, coasting for 20 years. It'll be interesting to see how Venables, he's had some good recruiting points. You know, he has, I think, the like top-rated class in a couple years, but it'll be interesting to see how Venables does this year as his first year as a head coach.
Yeah, no, I agree. But who do you think is the front runner for the Big
12? I mean, I would probably say front runner for the Big 12. Aranda for Baylor. I really like how he's turned them around. I hate Baylor, but he seems like a likable guy. Oklahoma State's got some decent experience coming back. Oklahoma as well. I mean, dark horse, and as much as I fucking hate it, is going to be how experienced Kansas State is. They are going to be a dark horse, but they have to have everything go right. So I would say, and they have some tough road games. So I would probably say Baylor and Oklahoma State. Oklahoma, I mean, the top 3 are interchangeable. You could say any one of those combinations. I wouldn't hesitate 1 minute.
Okay. Even with all the trouble Oklahoma's had with the turnover, I still think they're probably at the top.
Yeah.
Closely contested probably with Oklahoma, who was on the cusp last year. They were close. So
they're about 3 feet short of a playoff berth.
Yep.
Were there many changes to Oklahoma State? Did they lose a lot of players or anything?
No, give me 1 second here. I think they returned 13 starters. Give me 1 second here.
Okay. Brian's got the mags, man. He's just got pulled through that stack.
I don't have the conferences, so I'm just kind of like at a glance waiting for the Big 12 to pop up here. Here we go. So Oklahoma State, they have how many were starters? Jesus Christ. Guys, keep talking. I'll have it here in like 2 seconds.
I mean, if there's not many changes, I think I'd probably go with Oklahoma State winning the Big 12 this year.
Yeah, they lost a lot of pieces on defense. They have a decent amount of people on offense coming back, but they also, that Sanders is he's an athlete, but I don't know if he's going to be. I mean, it's same thing with Kansas State. They have an athlete in Adrian Martinez. I don't know if he's best quarterback, and I don't know how the turnovers for them. As long as their quarterback plays fine, I mean, anyone can compete in the Big 12. So
yeah. I was gonna say, excuse me, it's getting a little late for me. I was gonna say,
late.
Yeah, I was gonna say, sometimes defense in the Big 12 isn't the biggest thing. It's who can score 60 fastest.
I think defense has been picking up there, and that's again where Oklahoma has struggled. Where you've seen a few new champion, or we just had a new champion last year because they have had defense finally being able to compete with that high-powered offense that they've had. So,
yeah.
So,
but I don't have the list in front of me. I think if I remember correctly, Trent's overrated was Clemson.
Yep,
I got it up.
Yep, he had Clemson.
Yeah, Trent's saying Clemson, which they're ranked number 4. So he's picking out one of those top teams, calling them out. And then Joey, he's saying that USC at number 15 is overrated because
and that's just because that's just because he's afraid of them coming into the Big Ten and dominating.
Dude, Big Ten just signed big money. They got all the money in the world to play with right now. So
yep.
They're CBS, right?
I think they signed deals with CBS, NBC, and Fox.
Yeah,
Okay.
350 million a year.
You have to think that the SEC is going to be going to the table with ESPN and going, hey guys, what's with the money? We need to do something with the money here.
Oh yeah, these new contracts
I
are
was gonna say
actually going to
CBS has always been SEC.
That's what I thought.
Huh.
Yeah, I was hoping that the Big Ten or the Big 12 was going to be able to compete with some of these like media rights, deals, or I'm sorry, media rights, and get kind of that big contract. I think it's coming. It's just going to really depend on honestly how everything breaks down and really how the Pac-12 stuff breaks down. There really hasn't been any new news in the last few weeks, so I don't know. That'll still be interesting, but I personally think Joey picked USC as being overrated just because he spikes the Big 12 or the Pac-12 because that white running back destroyed them in the Rose Bowl a few years ago. But that's just me.
Hey, you got to find that hate somewhere.
Hey, exactly. If there's anyone that knows how to be a hater, it's definitely me. So I can appreciate it. I would say it could be that Big Ten thing. Just knock them down before they come into the Big Ten and travel 1,500 miles to play in Lincoln, Nebraska as their close game. So.
Well, how about we share love here? Who you looking at? Enough respect. Who you got, Brian?
I got to be. I'm back to Homer Bryant here. I think I'm going to go with future Big 12 member Houston. They're at 25 right now. Their coach is still Dana Holgorsen, and I would say he's had a couple. You'd say off years because they had De'Aaron King and he had the injuries there. But I mean, they're at 25 right now, and their schedule is pretty favorable. I mean, they play Texas Tech. I believe it's it's one of the first couple games this year. Texas Tech isn't. I mean, they're bowl bound, so I mean they were over 500 last year. So I don't know. I just think Houston with as many starters, you have the advantage of being in a quote unquote, no offense, lesser league. I would say you do have to still play Cincinnati. You still have to play UCF. You have to play some of these higher teams. It's going to be, but if there's going to be one thing that does hold them back, even though I'm saying they're underrated, is I believe this is the last year before they go into the Big 12, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so everyone's going to be out to get Cincinnati. Everyone's going to be out to get UCF and Houston. I just think with the talent that they're going to have returning, I think they have a very good shot at ending, easily top 15. I would say it just, I guess we got to see how Dana holds them together throughout the year.
Yeah. So hopefully they can stay healthy and put up some good games.
Yes, sir. Who do you got underrated?
I feel like this team is out of the SEC. Like you just don't hear often unless they're kicking some ass that they was predicted not to, and that's Arkansas.
Vanderbilt.
I feel like the Razorbacks. feel like the Razorbacks usually come with some surprise. I don't know. They outperformed what they were predicted last year. I just don't. They get much respect, so I'm picking. I think they'll finish inside the top 10.
Sam Pittman's got him playing very well. I was not necessarily for this year. I was looking at highlights just because I'm waiting for college football chomping at the bit, going top highlights from the last few years. And it got to a point where do you remember Darren McFadden, how amazing he was in college?
Yeah.
Before the Raiders destroyed him, he was amazing in college. But I was just watching those highlights, and he just it looked like Tyreek Hill out there just blowing by the defenses, just outright. He was amazing, So I would agree. I mean, they played a lot of tough games. They're playing Alabama toe to toe before Bama does what Bama does, and they took over the game. But I agree. Arkansas. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if you're telling me top 10 at the end of the year.
I mean, they play a game like that where maybe it's a possession or two possessions. That game's entirely different, and they're upsetting, the number 1, number 2 team in the nation going in the stretch. So, yeah, I think they're on the cusp. So they can contend in the SEC. So, and if you're contending in the SEC, you got to like 5 or 6 spots inside the top 10, right? So.
Mm-hmm. And they actually got a decent out of conference schedule too, to be able to show, kind of show off what they can do. I mean, Cincinnati plays them so they play at home versus Cincinnati. So again, that'll might be one of my favorite matchups that week, depending on, I guess, if Iowa or Iowa State's playing. I can't remember September 3rd, but Cincinnati at Arkansas, whoever wins that one, they're going to be on the right projection towards, in the top 25. But they play Bama at home. They play at BYU. I'm trying to see who else they got. Mississippi at home, and they got Auburn on the road, LSU at home. I mean, they got somewhat of a favorable schedule. I wouldn't, again, they win those tough ones at home, especially Bama, top 10. I got, no question on that one.
Yeah. Well, looking at Joey, Joey's old playing Mr. Homer over there, picking out Iowa as his underrated team.
Mm-hmm. Joey feels that a team that only plays one side of the ball deserves top 25 treatment, I guess. That's who he's saying that defense makes them top 25 alone. No, I agree. I was shocked. I was shocked at some of the teams that were in the top 25 and Iowa wasn't, especially – no offense, their offense is terrible, but they are returning a lot of their starters that they need, and they got a solid running back duo there. I don't really know how they were in the top 25. I mean, they're right on the cusp, but hopefully Ferentz can turn that into some fuel for his guys. Hey, you're not being appreciated for what you are. Petrus, if you can actually get your head out of your butt and throw a ball like we've seen. I mean, there's been highlights of him throwing 70-yard bombs. But are we going to have any Iowa wide receivers that can get that far down the field? Is it, are they going to be able to, apply it in game with Brian Ferentz offense? So I don't know. I hope they can, because it just makes, when Iowa State beats them later this year, makes it that much sweeter, I was getting too nice about Iowa. I got to shit on them a little. So, but I don't know. I would say enough about Iowa. Who's your underrated team, Ryan? Are you going to be Homer as well?
I'm going with the Homer pick and saying LSU. Brian Kelly has this program straightened out. Yeah. I was actually just looking at their schedule of the 12 games. I feel like they can probably win 10 of the 12 games that they've got this year, with the exception of Alabama and Auburn. Those, they might be able to beat Auburn, but Alabama, I think Nick Saban's too pissed off because he's not getting the recruits he wants because of NIL. So I know they're kind of struggling behind others for getting 5-star recruits. So Nick Saban's just going to go a whole nother level right now. But yeah, I'm very hopeful for LSU. They're they're only 3 seasons away now from a person. The last two years, our coaches sounds like Coach O kind of had some things on the side that were a little more important than coaching. We've got a few 4-star quarterbacks to choose from this year. Nothing has been named yet. No one's been named yet. It's a complete competition. We aren't going by somebody's last name this year for quarterback. So I'm excited. I truly believe LSU has a good product. I honestly think they'll be top 15 by the end of the season.
I was just looking at their schedule. I would say on top of the Auburn and Alabama games, which you get Alabama at home, that's absolutely going to be, first off, that's going to be a night game in Death Valley, and that's going to be your best chance to beat the best team on your schedule. I think you got a very tough October. I would say, you get at Auburn, and then, Tennessee is always going to compete, and then you go at Florida, and then you get Ole Miss to end the month, and then you're immediately Alabama, Arkansas. I mean, you've got a tough stretch there in the middle, and then you got your UAB and Texas A&M to end it. But I mean, that 6-game stretch, that's going to really make or break how LSU does this season. Yeah,
I feel good about it. I feel good. Like I said, besides Auburn and Alabama, and who knows, maybe they can steal one of those 2 games, and get into maybe they can get into an SEC or a championship game. But I feel good about this team. I'm hopeful for 10 wins, 8 or 9. You get them into a bowl game the first season under Brian Kelly. he's had good teams with Notre Dame. I feel like he probably has better recruits at LSU. Granted, Notre Dame probably doesn't have the tough schedule like LSU does. So I guess you have to take what you can give on those sides. But yeah, I feel good about LSU going forward.
I agree. Clark, any comments on LSU from you, or are you good on that? I'm shrugging his shoulder.
Call me out, Clark. Call me out.
Oh, I'm gonna call you out because they're, you talk about LSU kind of being a name. Oh, I feel like Notre Dame's just the same way. I feel like Brian Kelly, he's just, I don't know. I don't think he brings anything to it, and I think LSU's maybe a middle of the pack SEC team. Which middle of the pack possible. SEC still gonna put you in the top 25. So sure, they're underrated.
And
underrated.
That is very possible, especially season one getting his system in there. So it is very possible, but we'll see at the end of the year. Which
dances, by golly, he's top
5. That's what matters the most. Come on, you're a Chiefs fan, you know that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll see at the end of the season which one of us just looks like a complete stooge by the time we're done here.
Right. I have a feeling just because he's not here to defend himself, it's going to be Trent. You see who he's got underrated?
Probably. Yeah, he's looking at those old badges up there in Wisconsin.
No, I would say
what's so underrated about them? Hello, notes.
I would say now that I'm looking at their schedule, their first 3 games are Illinois State, Washington State, New Mexico State. So they start off relatively easy, but then they're playing at Ohio State right after. So I mean, honestly, looking at their schedule, their toughest games are going to be at Ohio State at early or late September. They got at Michigan State, middle of October. Purdue is always going to be a tough game. At Iowa late in November. Nebraska late in November. I guess depends on what your opinion of Nebraska is going to be so far, but I mean, I don't know. You never.
They're going to be my second most underrated team.
Yeah.
Nebraska's same boat. Show me what you can do, and then talk about being back. I agree, but I don't know if shit. Now, I wanted to talk shit about Trent's underrated pick, but looking at that schedule, I mean, top. Wisconsin always competes. Top 15, top 10, depending on what the year they have. I wouldn't be shocked. I think right now 20 is appropriate for them, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say they're probably placed close to where they'll finish. I guess one team in the top 25 I was going to mention was Cincinnati. What are they ranked? They're lower 25, right?
I think they're 23.
They lost. They lost a few players. Do you think they'll be as good as last year, or even close enough to be a top 25 team?
I mean, their biggest ones that they lost were going to be. I mean, offense is going to be Riddler. Defense, they lost both of their cornerbacks. Cincinnati's 22 right now. I think that's appropriate for them. Again, they got an early matchup with Arkansas. That's going to be a good indicator on where they are this year. So, I think that's going to be the biggest test. What do they have on offense that's going to replace Riddler? Can their defense without Sauce Gardner, Kobe Bryant, are they even going to be able to compete?
Yeah. Yep.
Speaking of competing.
Competition, huh?
Odds.
Heisman
odds. I think we got two people at the top. Both of them belong to the number 1, number 2 teams in the preseason polls.
Yep.
Old CJ Stroud rounding out the top 2 spots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm not really too shocked at the third one here. Caleb Williams I put the betting odds of plus 700. That one, I mean, he's out west. He's probably going to be one of the biggest, if not only star out there, honestly.
slicing and dicing that easy Pac-12 schedule, baby.
You got to keep chipping away at them until they dismantle. Then we'll feel bad for a little bit, but the Big 12 might pick up more teams. So
I won't feel that bad.
No, not one bit.
Any surprises out of the early high enough for you?
Honestly, not really. I mean, I had to just I didn't want to put one and not the other, but I mean, right below this, they got Bijan Robinson, who's at plus 2,000 for Texas. I would say Stroud and Bryce Young are going to be, I mean, easy top two. Now, it's going to, I would say their schedule is going to dictate, Ohio State's schedule is probably going to be a little easier than Bama's here. I mean, I know just off the top of my head, Bama has to play Texas, in the out of conference. So they at least have one, tough out of conference. Ohio State, I don't have in front of me. They always seem to have a little bit of an easier out of conference. We're kind of away from the days where Texas at, the huge matchups, Texas at Ohio State and stuff, it feels like. But, Bijan Robinson, Texas, I'll go down the list a little bit. Will Anderson for Bama, Jackson Smith. Oh my God, I'm sorry, I can't get the last name there. The wide receiver who had the huge game versus Utah, he's at Ohio State. So the top two teams have 4 of the top 6, Heisman odds candidates. Then you got a Oklahoma quarterback fill in. I mean, that's just a fill in on who's playing. He's the next odds, and then from there it's plus 3,500. We really don't need to jump in too much, but I mean, do you have any favorites on these guys so far?
Best quarterback from the best team. That's my number one. Probably going to be Bryce Young. That's my prediction.
I thought you were going to say what Trent just said, Hunter Dekkers for Heisman, the number one quarterback and number one team, Iowa State Cyclones.
Is my to see my eye roll.
Yes, I see it just fine. So you really think that Bryce will be the first one to have 2 Heisman since Archie? Well, the only other one, Archie Griffin.
Yeah, number 2, second time ever, going to go back to back for Heisman winner.
It's hard to argue against it, dude. Especially with the year he had last year. He's got. They don't rebuild, they reload at Bama. So I mean, it's really going to depend on how big of moments that Bryce Young has in those big games. And same thing with Stroud, because he also, he was at the ceremony last year.
Yep. I'm curious because last year, in college, you always kind of get the news story for these guys. Bryce Young, he's back again. Last year, he was like, hey, I've always just felt like I was at prove myself. Dude, you had Nick Saban at your practice middle school, okay? You've never been the underdog. You've always been the dog that everybody knows.
He's got that dog in him.
That's right.
No, I do like Caleb Williams at 3, not because I think he's an overall great Stroud and Bryce Young are, in my opinion, miles ahead of that kid. But, you got to remember, the thing that's going to hurt him, one, is going to be West Coast time. That's what's been hurting the big Pac-12 for years. But if he's going to be on the premier team in that league, and he's the only game that's playing in the afternoon, or the game, we always talk about Pac-12 after dark, when they're playing. If he is playing lights out, people are going to tune in at these, 7, 8, 9 o'clock kickoffs specifically to watch Caleb Williams. More eyes on you. If you have big moments in the big games, he can jump up there really fucking quick. Plus, we talk about brands, Texas, Nebraska, USC. Why'd they get in the Big Ten? They're a brand. It's not their football prowess the last few years. It's they're a big brand. So if you can be the head honcho on campus over there, big man on campus, and you can have those big plays, Caleb Williams can jump right back into that conversation.
I bet they can't wait to be playing their 9 a.m. kickoffs there at Rutgers,
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be great.
I was just listening to McAfee talk about this today. When they're doing an 11 a.m. kickoff, like the example you use Indiana, but any time that's going to be Eastern or Central time, you're waking up at, 5 to 6 a.m. West Coast time to prep for a game in November that's going to be 10, 20 degrees in the brisk cold. Rather, it's not like it doesn't get cold on the West Coast, but I mean, you have to add in that you're not able to sleep in your own bed. You have to wait, on these few road games they're going to have. You're waking up so fucking early. I mean, it's going to be tough for them, dude.
Yep.
So, I was in the top 10. Joey mentions another, Texas slide having as many in the top 10 odds as Bama, but again, let's watch them play. That week 2 game will be huge for both of their odds. Bryce Young, Will Anderson, Bijan Robinson. They have a huge game in the game that everyone's going to be watching that weekend. They'll be the front runner until they have a slip up.
What week do they play Kansas? That's the one I want to watch.
Oh God, dude! I mean, again, that's. I'm sure Texas fans are getting so fucking tired of hearing that, but it's like, well, dude, just beat them, and then you never have to hear it. But somehow it's a difficult task for them for some reason. So, Ryan, you got any thoughts on Heisman?
No, not really. I really don't. College. I said earlier, college football. I'm just not that in depth about. So if I were to bet safely, I would probably put Bryce on it with Clark. But other than that, I have no in depth stuff there.
I mean, come on, let's money on Stroud. Already took Young. Come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
Just kidding. I'm on the money train. Get on, baby. We're going to town.
I try not to bet anything positive towards Ohio State.
I will support you in that matter.
Well, do we want to shift gears into Boys League?
Yeah, let's do
it.
Football's back. Hall of Fame game.
Well,
it's happened. It's done. Raiders thumped the Jags. I did not watch, but I knew it happened.
That is the perfect. Oh my God, football is back. Hall of Fame. Didn't watch the game. I turned it on there was 13:50. Who gives a shit? In the first quarter, it was raining. It wasn't even Derek Carr, and I was like, I saw Devontae Adams either drop a ball or miss a route or something. I was like, all right, I got enough of it. Football's. I know it's back. I don't have to watch it. It's that feeling in your heart that you know that football's back.
I know it's back. It's out there. But by golly, it's hotter than a freaking doobie at a Bob Marley concert out there. Everything's burned up. Like I'm breaking a sweat walking into work every day. Like, come on. If football's back, so does the weather. Let's go.
Yeah.
Get it in gear.
It's been
give me a nice, cool.
Even in South Dakota today, it was 98 when I was outside, which it makes perfect sense because it's the Sturgis Rally right now. So that's usually when the weather is the worst. But yeah, it's August. I'm ready for some 80s.
Yeah. So
I'm definitely ready for the long cool days in the fall, making chili.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've always struggled to get excited during preseason. I just kind of keep my ear to the ground. Who's hurt? Hopefully nobody been.
Who's using psychedelics to become a better player?
Oh, that's Aaron Rodgers. That's all Aaron right now. But fantasy football drafts coming up. Excited about that. The anticipation. It's a few weeks away. I'm ready, but
we're gonna do one live as a group, aren't we?
That's what Joey talked about. I believe so.
I believe that's what old Joey's got in mind. He's kind of been cooking on though.
Yeah, we'll have to get that scheduled. And going forward, I guess we're going to be doing this stuff on Monday nights instead of Tuesday nights. I guess we'll talk about season 2 plans at some other moment, but yeah, we'll do that some random Monday night.
Yep. And then Other stuff just happening around the league. We got a little bit of league news happening. Bears linebacker Roquan Smith said, "Get me out of Chicago because you ain't gonna pay me what I'm worth." So that's happening. Brown still the worst team in the league. They find up. It's all bad. All bad. Kareem Hunt wants out.
So I guess on a couple things on that on my side of things. So as a Vikings fan, with the GM that the Bears got, can't remember, Ryan Poole. The Bears got him, and I was so hoping the Vikings would. There has not been anything good happen for the Bears this offseason. Like, I'm very thankful. The worst thing that's happened with the Vikings is our GM has said, well, we don't have one of the superstar quarterbacks, basically, which, you probably should start talking a little bit higher about your quarterback you're paying $40 million a year for. But that's the worst thing. We haven't had any players that are top 10 in the league say, hey, I want out of this place. In fact, the players for the Vikings are really excited with what's going on. So I was very upset about, not upset, but I would have preferred Ryan Poole, but that's kind of looking like a good thing for the Vikings at the moment. We'll see how things go, if we can win any games this year. But the other thing is, Kevin Stefanski was OC for the Vikings, and I was at one point hoping that we could keep him instead of, keeping Zim around. Well, now Stefanski looks like he's got a crap situation going on with the Browns that he can't keep in hand. So I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm kind of curious on the Vikings GM situation. That comment, quarterback, I don't know all the context about it. Obviously, people will pull a quote from anything, put it whatever way they want. So I don't know the context, but really that's the first bad thing I've heard out of Vikings camp this offseason. Most of it's been really good. Insiders saying, hey, watch out. They're going to be good. So
it was basically one of those things where he was talking about blowing up the team to get a quarterback, such as what the Browns did, basically. Browns possibly did it for a quarterback that may never see a down. So, but he's just like, we've got a quarterback, but he's not a Tom Brady or a Mahomes or an Aaron Rodgers. And typically to win a Super Bowl, you need one of these kind of quarterbacks. That was basically the gist of it. It wasn't anything terribly harmful. But at the time, you would think they should probably push that you have a quarterback that you can win a Super Bowl with, instead of your fans thinking, oh God, already says our quarterback sucks and we don't have a chance.
So does he think that Cuzzy isn't as good as Stafford? Because Stafford found new life and went out and got himself Super Bowl. I kind of see him and Cousins on the same field as far as league time, experience, about the same level in my analysis. So, I don't have to have the biggest, youngest Tom Holmes, most talent or most experienced quarterback out there either. So it can get done.
The next day he did an interview and like Pat McAfee just shit all over him. Like, just it was kind of brutal, to be honest. And I think he probably heard the backlash on it, and he kind of, it's one of those deals where you have a GM and a head coach that are brand new, and they're going to actually give you raw thoughts instead of political statements like what we've had in the last how many years, because the GM and the head coach were in the league for so long. The next day, basically just, we have a quarterback that we're happy with what he's doing, and we're happy with how this team is going. So basically they got so much backlash to the point of they learned, okay, we need to start having PCs not give anything in depth or special. And that's basically what we've gotten since.
So are you ready to put money down like Trent did?
So Trent put money down for them to win the NFC North. I put money down for them to win the Super Bowl. Not a lot of money, but It was like it wasn't a lot of money at all. I don't know what the current odds are right now. Actually, I'll try to look them up. But
Hear
also,
that,
Trent
Trent?
put down some money. Yeah, he's not as
I was
big
gonna
of a
say,
fan as I am.
if apparently he's not big enough fan, and he ain't got the huevos that Ryan's got over there.
Yeah,
Big old.
it was more
cojones.
like it was. Yeah, they're at plus 5,000. So I think I put like $10 on or $20 on for me to win like $5,500 or something. So I'm like, I'll throw this money away. It's fine. I also had the funny thing is in South Dakota we have sports betting, but you can't put bets on voted upon awards. So MVP, um, you can't put bets on that. So I had to have Trent do that for me too, and I put 10 on Cousins for MVP and Jefferson for MVP. Um, Cousins, I think I win $550. Jefferson, I win like $1,500. So it's like, whatever. We'll throw some money down.
That's really weird that you can't bet on voted odds stuff. I was just gonna check Caesars in Iowa real quick, see if they even had those. Maybe that's. I mean, was it for sure like they just didn't have odds, or it didn't let you at all?
They didn't at all. Usually I go to the booth so I don't have to talk to people when I'm putting bets in. But it wasn't on there, so I went and talked to the people at the cage, and they're just like, "Yeah, we can't do anything. The state of South Dakota does not allow voted upon awards." So that's one of
Iowa,
those
yeah.
things.
I just looked up for the Heisman odds, and you can vote on it. So that's weird that South Dakota doesn't allow that. But I
That
guess
and you can't vote on any South Dakota sports either. So like when the USD women were in, what were they, the Sweet 16? Did they make the Sweet 16? Either way,
yeah,
for the NCAA tournament this year, could not put money on them because you can't bet South Dakota sports.
we don't want all those corrupt South Dakota gangs. Like the mafia back in the day with the Black Sox and shit. We don't want them corrupting the sports.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. All the money the state of South Dakota has.
Yeah, they just they don't want to taint the great image of South Dakota. So I can understand where they're coming from, but
Yeah.
no, I would say that it's interesting the Vikings had that bad odds when you consider that their issues last year were 2-minute defense, but you're returning a lot of your key offensive people. I know you solidify your lines a little bit as well.
Right now, the center is where we're really concerned at. It sounds like our center is just getting ran over every play. So we are trying to have a little competition there. So that stinks because Cousins isn't the most mobile quarterback. He doesn't use his feet a lot. So hopefully we can get that figured out. But like our right tackle O'Neal, I think he went a year and a half without allowing a sack. Our left tackle Darisaw, he's in the second season and he's being compared to Trent. I can't remember his last name, or who's the awesome left tackle? Wasn't he?
Trent Williams.
Yeah, Trent Williams. He's being compared to him. So yeah, we've got some line, some positivity there. Obviously we have Dalvin Cook. We've got KJ Osborne is our third wide receiver, and I've been reading practice notes, and he's been having better practices than Justin Jefferson. So it's exciting. Our tight end, who we keep on saying every year is going to be awesome. He's hurt again. Should be back for game 1 though.
It's still Kyle Rudolph, right?
No. Yeah. We should have probably signed him. No, Irv Smith Jr., who has a lot of promise if he could stay on the field.
Yeah.
But the defense is apparently what people have seen in practice is just, it's kind of crazy. We've gone to a 3-4. Danielle Hunter and Zadarius Smith as outside linebackers at times. It's going to be fun to watch. I'm excited for this team. Every year I say the Vikings have a chance, and then they end up having the 31st or 32nd ranked defense, and that kind of ruins their chances. Maybe if we're middle of the pack, I honestly think we'll have a top 5 offense. I think what O'Connell and McVay did with Stafford, I think they'll do with Cousins. I really do.
You had a very legit shot, that's for sure.
Yeah. And it's just fun watching Kevin O'Connell talk too. He you have a little bit younger voice with the team now. It's watching him talk, you're excited. Like you're just like, okay, we got something new. We aren't playing 80s football anymore. Let's go.
You don't have a coach that actively hates or doesn't want to play some players for some arbitrary, stupid fucking reason. Oh, he's a rookie. We drafted him specifically to help the team, but we don't want to play him at all.
The only time he played rookies were when they were cornerbacks because he was a cornerback guru, apparently. But I mean, Stephon Diggs didn't step on the field for 5 games. Justin Jefferson didn't step on the field until game 3. Very rarely did he have rookies practicing with the first team. Majority of our rookies are seeing first team reps in training camp. It's just a big difference, a huge difference. So what will it turn into something? I don't know, but I can only hope.
Well, I'm excited for you. Just get by the big bad Aaron Rodgers first.
Yeah, and that's always difficult. Now, luckily, I think our receiving core is a little bit better than Green Bay's, but we'll see. Aaron Rodgers can make anybody look good.
Got an Iowa State alum at wide receiver 1, dude. So I mean, it's probably just Super Bowl bound. I don't know.
Future Hall of Famer Lazard.
I just love absolutely sending that every single time because it's just like, he's not going to do anything. And then because other people left the team and he's got the prototypical size, it's just always funny. Wide receiver 1, first ballot, fucking vote him into Canton. We're done.
Let's do it. Yeah. He's got the resume already.
Oh, fuck. So
me, I'm a fan of an NFC North team that's not Green Bay. From the outside, do you guys see Aaron Rodgers taking a step back this year, or is he having another MVP like season?
He lost a huge weapon in Adams, but I mean, how many times? I mean, other than Adams, name every single year because he has a bunch of no-name wide receivers. I always think, and Chiefs signed one of the no-name wide receivers, by the way, but I always think it's funny because like I'm always in the back of my mind, I'm like thinking, is Randall Cobb still there? Because he just makes everyone look that good. So, if Aaron Rodgers does what Aaron Rodgers does, he's going to be able to take Allen Lazard and make him a wide receiver 1. I don't know, man. I think he's fucking Tom Brady 2.0 and playing until he's fucking 45. As much as you hate to hear that, because it sounds like he did the interview with PMT and he wants to play at least another 2, 3, 4 years. Yeah. But if Coach Cock can get him where the Vikes need to be, then maybe his retirement comes sooner, dude.
Yeah, I don't watch a whole lot of Barstool stuff. I certainly have not watched or listened to much PFT stuff, but that was a very entertaining interview with him.
Yeah, they talked about him doing ayahuasca, which by the way, we mentioned earlier. I was going to chip in. How pissed is Josh Gordon hearing an interview with you kind of have to bring race into a white quarterback face of the league going, yeah, I just take hallucinogens and it's been treating me great. And he's going, fucking, how many games have I been suspended? And, for weed, that's legal now legal most states. Then it wasn't, but it's just like, he's just got to be fucking livid hearing that shit.
He just needed to go to, was it South America and do that stuff with the natives, man. That's all you have to do.
Peyote with fucking Phil Jackson and all that shit. Yeah, he just got it. I would just be furious. Someone else just doing something that's probably technically worse and just, oh, yeah, whatever. It's Aaron Rodgers. Whoops.
I had to laugh, though. All the, and it's true a lot for Vikings fans, too, with that interview, where I think it was Big Cat. He's a big Bears fan, where it's like, our highlights are not the Vikings doing anything. It's Green Bay losing. Like, that's unfortunately what we have to live for every season, is when is Aaron Rodgers going to fail? Like last year, their first game against the Saints, they got killed by the Saints because he threw, 2 interceptions that game? I was just, that's the beginning of the season. It's like, holy crap, this is amazing. This is the Aaron Rodgers I dreamed to see. And then the rest of the season, he's the MVP. Where it's just, he's a guy that I think him going on Pat McAfee has made him a lot more human to me and has made it so I don't dislike him quite as much. But when he steps on the field, I hate that guy. Like, I just want to see them fail. And it's the same thing every year, that they don't fail until the NFC division or championship against the 49ers.
Clark, do you ever have anyone like that you just absolutely hate seeing them come onto the field?
Not really.
I'd say the one that I'd say just as a Chiefs fan that always fucking pissed me off. I mean, you could almost just say Colts quarterbacks for a little while because of Andrew Luck, but I fucking just despised Peyton Manning. He ruined that 13-3 year. He was just always always spoiled everything, and he was just top tier. I fucking just hate him. And then where does he go? To the Broncos, our rival, and then he just beats our ass for a few years. They win a Super Bowl. Just he was my Aaron Rodgers. I just fucking hated watching him play. So when we beat him that last time we've ever played him, it brought a lot of joy to me.
I think we can agree though that the second year Peyton was in Denver, that was like zombie Peyton Manning. That wasn't the real Peyton Manning.
Yeah, they won that they won that fucking Super Bowl, and then you could just tell that defense carried so much fucking weight. And I mean, when you have to choose like, do we do zombie Peyton Manning or Brock Osweiler, and you can't figure it out, that's a pretty bad situation.
I mean, he was throwing ducks all season. There was a whole lot of quacking going on with those balls that were going.
Peyton Manning always threw an ugly ball, though. Mm-hmm. Always.
Did he?
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, he was definitely the guy I hated, and he did HGH, but that's
Patrick Mahomes throws a prettier spiral behind his back than Peyton Manning ever threw overhand. Okay, so.
Can we all agree, though, nobody throws as good of a ball as Tua?
Oh, shut the fuck up over there.
All I know is I saw a clip today. It's Patrick Mahomes. Okay, we saw the clips where he was doing the high impact toss. And this was a clip. He threw it from behind the back. It was probably like 25, 30 yards off the goalpost. Then he throws one left-handed on the goalpost. Like, this dude's him from 20, 30 yards, hitting the crossbar of the goalpost with his dominant hand. And he throws it left-handed, like same spot. Come on.
He's pretty amazing.
I love Mahomes, but we also have to shit on him a little bit. If I ever see that fucking behind the back running back toss broke out in a real game, I'm going to lose my fucking shit, because that is the mamby-pamby, oh, let's do a cutesy play, and then that will be returned for a fumble 6, and we're gonna wonder what happened, because we had to get cocky with that shit. I love him. Like you said, he can hit a goalpost from fucking 30 yards away behind the back. Do not do it in game, for the love of God, please. And let's not see Travis Kelce throw a touchdown again. Like,
I'm going off.
Yeah,
first time I see that in game, baby. Oh yeah.
You know what? I'm just glad that these are the Chiefs' problems. Honestly, we've had a kind of quiet off season, or I'm sorry, quiet training camp. You know, other than that shit, I'm happy these are the problems. I hope that our amazing quarterback doesn't do some one dumb mistake. You know,
yeah,
he'll do it and it'll work, and I'll be giddy as a schoolgirl. You know, but I really don't want to see that in a fucking game, man.
Have there been any notes as far, as regarding the receiving core there with Juju and I can't remember who they got from Green Bay?
Quezzy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Nicole. I mean,
yeah.
I really haven't heard anything. Have you, Clark?
They're gonna be hot. They're hot. we got Stash Kelce back. All right, Magnum PI again, dude. They're gonna be so good. So good.
I appreciate the in-depth analysis Clark gives there,
dude. So picky was wide receiver the thigh Moore. They love him. He's got amazing hands. He's in Patrick Mahomes' pocket, just watching everything Mahomes is doing. A lot with him down in. He got drafted. Like the dude wants to learn fast, wants to get out there, wants to perform. So watch out for Sky Moore. They're gonna be good.
Running back for
Juju's a monster.
very well.
they've been doing very. That defense. You talked about Cook. He's doing great. Their first pick, McDuffie's been tearing it up. They got another one, Williams. He's been doing very well. They got Justin
Was that
Reed
Dalvin Cook's brother?
No, Dalvin Cook's brother. I'm talking about the defensive back Cook.
Oh,
the
okay.
running back. He went the Bills. Running back went to the Bills. So, no, they're gonna look good. They got a young new defense. Frank Clark came back. He had a heart-to-heart with Andy Reid. He trimmed down, come back to camp, been mentoring the young guys, Karlaftis. Spent a lot of time going over stuff with him. They just signed another defensive end. Gosh, I'm blanking on his name. Maybe you can help me out, Brian.
Hold on.
But
who are we talking about? Well, I was just saying, I love that Frank defense end. Who? Sorry. Oh,
they
Carl
just signed
Dunlop.
a defensive end. Yeah, Dunlop. So Frank Clark, Dunlop, they've been spending lots, Karlaftis, as Travis Kelce likes to call him, after practice, putting in extra reps, just mentoring the young guy. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, Clark. I think he's got the right mindset. He really restructured his contract to be team friendly, incentive based. So hopefully we're going to see what we expected from Frank Clark when we first signed him this year. Travis Kelce looks like a dickhead sheriff that's going to give you a ticket no matter what. If he pulls you over. I don't know. Like I said, what's that?
Do you guys see Kelce starting to go down too now that he's getting, what is he, 32 now? You guys, or do you think he's still top number one in the league?
He'll be number one again this year.
Think so?
Yeah.
I'm saying, barring an injury or barring that, I think the top three wide receivers are going to be able to hold enough pressure where they can't just double him. But then you still have this, 6'6", this outmatched tight end to linebackers and cornerbacks. So unless, you get to a Gronk where you're just too slow or injured, and even when he was still the best tight end, playing at that point, unless injuries start kicking in, I mean, I think we're still a few years out.
Okay.
Yep. And then on the front side of the ball, Chiefs have the best freaking offensive line in the league. Got Creed Humphrey coming back. Dude's an animal. He's got amazing flow. The locks are flowing, baby. And then Orlando Brown Jr., he has come to camp. He was holding out, looking to get a bigger deal. I think they put the franchise was wanting to sign a new deal. So he was holding out, but he came back, did not miss any practices with pads. So as soon as day one pads came out, he was there. They said he's looking like he's trimmed down. So he's a little quicker on his feet, looking to have Brown. So hopefully everybody can stay healthy up front and be an amazing year.
I do think the juxtaposition of him holding out and then the first day come back, he's like, I just want to sign with the Chiefs long term. It's like, they offered it, man. Like, I don't know what you – I get it. He wants to be – I just get worried because when a not necessarily just him, but when you have like certain players that are, I want to be the top paid in the league, and they want to set not just like, okay, he's making $15 million, I want to make 15.5. I just want to be slightly above. Sometimes you have these players that are going to reset a market, and you just don't want to start that precedent. So I don't know. I hope this pays off franchising this year, and we'll be able to get him long term like he wants to, and have a good quarterback behind him for who he's blocking for. But yeah, I just always think it's funny. I want to be here long term, but I'm not going to sign that deal.
So
here,
yeah, I mean, contract's there, but I feel like he's come back with the right mindset, came back in the right physical shape for sure to get it done. So
yep.
So just to add to that, this is kind of the season where Justin Jefferson will probably get a new deal next year. And that could potentially just be a catastrophic number for the Vikings because we have not been good with our salary cap. Well, 2 weeks ago, Justin Jefferson said something like, money's not that important to me. Well, we'll see next year. We'll see just how important money is next year. Where it's like, Yeah, where you have fans just like, oh my gosh, we drafted the perfect guy. He's possibly the best receiver in the league, and he's not greedy. He doesn't want to be paid like a top receiver. Well, let's hold on until next year and see what he says.
I mean, you get that kind of players whenever you throw them a couple extra million here and there, because that's always been Travis. Like, I love the Chiefs. I love doing it. Here I am. Let's do it. Like, he's never worried about the money. And then just this, like, early, I think the Chiefs gave him like a $2 million or a few $1 million bonus or something, just to improve his salary for the year, because there's a lot of talk about him being extremely underpaid as a tight end.
Yeah,
and such a big, pay.
Well,
Going crazy, so they're like, "Oh, Travis Kelce's underpaid." Well, Chiefs gave him some money, so don't worry about that.
Well, so that's kind of with Devontae Adams. He didn't take his highest possible pay. He would have gotten that with Green Bay, but the amount he got at the Raiders is still just astronomical. So I guess he didn't take a contract for the money. But then you have what's his name that went to you have Hill, who went to Miami, and instead of playing for a top 3 quarterback in the league, now he's playing with Tua, which apparently he's the most accurate passer in the history of ball sports. I don't know, and he takes an astronomical amount of money, the most money he could potentially make. So it's like, you got to hope Jefferson is the guy that wants to stay in Minnesota and potentially take a little less money to try to be more team friendly. Really, we've only seen Tom Brady be that guy. Tom Brady could have made so much more money in his career than he did. So it'll be interesting next year. Jefferson's. I'll be curious what he makes.
Yeah, I mean, with these contracts, like you said, Hill was even with the whole podcast bullshit he was talking about. He's talking about, it wasn't all about the money and blah blah. All this, dude. You got no stadium tax in Florida. You just want to get paid. You want to have that generational wealth. I get it. And as a wide receiver, especially an aging one, you need to make that money. And with Justin Jefferson, this is going to be his first big contract. He's got to get it now because when are you potentially going to have any player just a devastating injury, and that might be your last big contract, and you're a journeyman after that. I don't know. I understand where they are about they need to make their money early, but like you said, I don't need to make it. Yeah, wait until you're at the negotiating table and throw that out to the Vikings and see if they have be real honorable instead going, well, we can save a few $1 million and sign players around you. Is that what you want, or do you want the big dollars? So.
Yeah. Which there's people who kind of did that going to Tampa to play with Brady the first year, which they were the veterans who wanted to win the championship before they retired, who have already made their money. So you've seen that a little bit, but for the most part, I'm going where the money is. I don't care about the championship. Where am I able to get the nicest cars from?
Yep. No, so I don't know, man. You know how much we miss fucking football. We're talking about speculation on contracts next year. We just need fucking contact football to play. Holy shit.
Yes.
Are there any even good preseason games? I know we mentioned all teams are playing, but are there any ones that we're even going to watch, or is it just kind of like we just know it's on, and in a couple weeks it's going to be the real stuff?
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Brian. I know it's happening. I ain't watching.
Yeah. I mean, this weekend the Vikings are playing the Raiders, so I'll probably tune into that just because, hey, it's football, it's Vikings football. But at the same time, you're probably your starters. Will they even play a quarter of this first preseason game? I kind of doubt it.
Yeah.
Also, with the Vikings, you're not going to see their real offense this preseason. They're not going to be. They had a situation where the first training camp practice, everyone was recording plays and putting them on Twitter. And Coach Cock had to put a big board up the next day saying, do not record what's going on. Don't let the other teams know what's happening. So, yeah. I mean, we won't see what the real Vikings team will be this weekend, but, just to get my blood pumping a little bit, I'll probably watch.
Mm-hmm. I agree. get some red and gold going, or red and yellow going on this season for the Chiefs. Just let me know. A few weeks it's going to be ready. So I don't know, man. That's what I'm pumped for. We I think we should probably wrap it up. We're talking about contracts and all this shit. We're just ready for the real thing finally.
Yeah. Yeah, let's wrap it up. We'll have to talk off screen here, but we'll probably put on all of our socials what we're when we plan on starting season 2 up with everything.
Yep.
I know we're like I said earlier, we're going to be doing Monday nights, so we'll probably be following along in the Monday night game while talking about what happened the prior week.
Mm-hmm.
Bryant, I messaged you. I don't know if you plan on doing like a college football thing to really go deep in, but we're looking on more content this year. That's for sure.
I think so, and also kind of this one was a mishmash. This was just football. This is back in our element, but I think we're going to get a little more concentrated 20-minute episodes on golf, and a quick 30-minute on anything college football that might come up during the week and later in the week. Because how often were we doing our NFL bets last year, and the odds fucking got skewed so much from Tuesday going into a Sunday game?
Yep. So yeah, I've got ideas for short episodes for golf to get Trent and Kevin on there again and try to just be more than just let's preview tournaments. We're gonna have actual talk about golf and the things that go on your daily golf life, I guess. So we're gonna be those guys. And those will be short episodes, make it easier to swallow a little bit instead of these hour-and-a-half episodes.
Yeah.
I want to do a sports betting one that will be recorded late Thursday night or Friday night for Saturday. Just trying to do basically a road to 272. Trying to put a bet on every single game this year, every single NFL game this season. So whether it's over, under, spread, money line, try to get something out there and get some money.
Well, if you want me to kick your ass, you just invite me over to that, okay?
Yeah, we can have a total season. We can have our best bets for the main pod, like we did last year. But if you want to jump in the road to 272 with me, I know Joey plans on doing it. I'm not sure if Clark is or not. But yeah, if you want to jump in with that,
won't be live till mid-season probably.
I gotcha. But yeah, and we won't be able to do Thursday night's games. I'll have to just tweet that out. So I will tweet those out, but the rest of the games for the weekend we'll definitely chat about.
Cool. So, well, and anyone that does, if any of that does pique your interest, just for our socials, make sure if you've been watching on YouTube, obviously you can see it scrolling the bottom the whole time. But for Instagram and Twitter, it's going to be at Heartland Pulse, and then for Facebook and YouTube, just look up Pulse of the Heartland, like, subscribe, click the bell so it lets you know when we do go live. We always try and give a time, and we're about 20 to 30 minutes late, whether it's just us running late or technical difficulties. So when we tell you time, plan 30 minutes later. If anything, you'll get through the mishmash at the beginning. We'll be in our flow. So
yes. And I plan on just, going down to South America and make myself a better podcaster before season 2 starts.
Well, tell Aaron Rodgers to say hi, okay?
All right. Thanks, everyone.
I appreciate you.